Hey guys, Formula Maniac here, and today we are doing a video on my predictions for the 2022 F3 standings. Okay, so in dead last, racing for Charus, Laszlo Toth. I mean, he was terrible last year. I reckon he's going to be terrible this year as well. Next up, Brad Benavides, I don't know, or whatever his last name is, driving for Carlin. The Spaniard's been pretty terrible in whatever he's raced in, and so that's why I'm predicting he will be 29th. I think the Carlin will have a bit of a pace advantage on the Charouche though this year due to Carlin moving mechanics up. Next up, we've got Rafael Villagomez. Um, had a decent year last year, but still not very impressive. Finished 29th out of in the championship. Had a decent showing Euro Formula Open. Moves up to Van Amersfoort this year. Same team as he really was last year with the HWA. I just don't see him improving very much. Ido Cohen. Had a good showing. I forget the race, but had a decent showing. It might have been. What was it? Netherlands. He had a decent showing. He ended up 24th in a decent year in Euro Formula Open the year before, but I don't see him being very competitive. And he has moved to Genza from Carlin. Hunter Yaney had decent pace in his previous outings, is the 2020 USA F4 champion. Had a bit of a off year in Formula Regional United States, and also had some off and on season. So I think Hunter Yaney will end up in this spot. Next, we've got Nazim Azmin, who's paid for a seat at High Tech, the Malaysian. He had a decent year in Euro Formula Open and had a decent year in British F3 the year before, but if you look at most of his results, fourth in Spanish F3 in 2018, he's pretty meh, and from testing, he was nearly always off the pace. That's why I predict he's going to be this low in the ladder. Next up, Ayrton Simmons. Moved to Charousse in about 1 or 2 rounds last year. The 20-year-old. Second in GB3 in 2021. Also had some very good performance in British F4 and British F3 the years before. So I think a decent year for Ayrton Simmons. William Alatalo stepping up. Um, had a decent year in FREC driving for Arden. I think he was the second. I don't know if he beat Alex Quinn. I can't remember exactly now. But yeah, he moves it to the Genza. He's not a terrible driver, so I expect him to get a maybe score an odd point. But yeah, not too much for William Alatalo to thin. Reese Ushijima. I don't, fourth in GB3 and 12th in Asian F3 in 2021. I don't know really where he is competitive wise. Um, I think the VAR will be a decent car. I think he will get Oliver Rasmussen's car. So you don't know where that sort of will play out, but I think he'll be okay. Not great, not terrible. Francesco Pizzi, after a terrible year in FREC, he moves up to F3 this year. This time with Charouse. Um, I don't think the Charouse is a terrible car. He had some very, very good results in 2020. First in F4 UAE and Italian F4 second. So I think he definitely has the pace, and I think he'll be able to score a few points this year. Enzo Trulli had a bit of a quiet 2021, other than his championship in the UAE F4. The young Italian, 16 years old, driving for Carlin. I think he could definitely score some points, and it almost feels bad having him this low, but his Euro Formula results weren't amazing, and he's also in a Carlin, so I'm not sure where he'll end up. But I think he's definitely going to improve as the years go on. Patrick Pasma. Now, he isn't confirmed for Genza, but it's a no-brainer choice. Very experienced, and has driven in a multitude of things. Never really had the budget to have a big time seat. He did drive a ART in FREC last year and had the biggest winning margin in FRAC this year in the rounds that he did. Had a very good showing, I thought. Missed a few rounds, so yeah, moves to Genza, might be the lead Genza. David Vidales. He took the opening round win in FREC and was sixth in FRE, so he's had a decent career so far, the Spaniard, and he might assume Lorenzo Colombo's position, but I think that'll go to his teammate. I think Campos are on the way up. So yeah, that's David Vidal. Zach O'Sullivan, 2019 Junior Champion second, 2020 British F4 second, 2021 GB3 first. The, and he's part of the Williams Driver Academy. He is driving for Carlin this year, and I think that this will be a 1 year at Carlin, then he'll move up to a higher team. And I think the best thing is getting used to the car and adjusting. I think he's a great talent, and Carlin's on the way up. But I think, just focusing on getting some good points and experience is what Zach O'Sullivan will be focusing on this year. Pepe Marti, what an outstanding performance in FRAC this year. I mean, he came out of nowhere and really proved what he was made out of. He did drive the full season, but he was consistent, always nearly up the front. Pepe Marti was really impressive to me. Drives to Campos, and I think he'll have Lorenzo Colombo's car as much as I thought it would be David Vidal. From his position last year in FRAC, or this year, I think he's going to be interesting to watch over these next few years. Next, Kalen Frederick. The American steps up from Carlin to high tech this year, and no, I think he'll be decent. But I'm looking at his results in the past. He's always been up there, but he's never been quite amazing. I mean, he could definitely move up, but I just don't see it. I think he might be a bit inconsistent, like how he was in F3 last year. He did score points though in the Carlin, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Roman Stanek in his third year of F3, he's been steadily climbing up, but I don't think he's got that, and I think he will have David Schumacher's car. And yeah, I just don't really rate him, to be honest. I mean, he obviously was decent in F4 in 2019, but the results since then, I mean, 10th in 2021 Asian F3 was decent, but I really don't think he's going to be too special. I do predict Carlin will slide back a bit. I mean, Trident will slide back a bit. I mean, he's young, 18 in his third year of F3, but no, I'm not really seeing it from Roman Stanek. Juan Manuel Correa. A lot of people aren't going to like this, so I've had him so low, but I think ART are going to focus on one driver in particular, and he's going to get pushed aside a little bit. He had a good start to the year, but then really tumbled back down, and his results in the past were never amazing. I mean, he was good in F2 in 2019, but yeah, I'm not too sure where he's going to end up, but I think this is sort of a safe play. Kush Maney. Now, a lot of people will be mad because I put him above Juan Manuel Correa, but Kush Maney is a big question mark. He was very good in British F3, decent in FRE, and solid in 2017 Italian F4. We never really had the budget though, but MP's on the way up as a team and as a collectively. I think Kush Maney could grab a podium and definitely score points this year. Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see, and I've got quite confidence in Kush Maney. Franco Colapinto, my favourite driver on the screen. I think he'll sort of take Matteo Nannini's car, but I think he's better than Matteo Nannini. I mean, you have a look at his career; he's had a pretty stellar career. He's beat lots of talented drivers, and he's very young for his age. Um, he went to ELMs and did well in ELMs. A bit of a bad year in FREC, but he was in the MP, which was not competitive in any respect. I mean, I think this will be a good year at VAR to build up his skill set and then move up to a team like Prema, ART, or Trident for the 2023 season. But yeah, I predict a win and some podiums this year from Franco. Isaac Hadja was really fast over testing, but High Tech do turn their cars up in testing. I don't really believe the hype behind High Tech this year. Part of the Red Bull Junior team, 17, very young. I think this will be a good year to get some good podiums and get some experience to move up to what might be Primo or Trident or ART the next season. Yeah. Alexander Samolia. It's all up in the air if he'll even drive this year, but if he is, very, very experienced in F3. This will be his third season. But I do feel like he'll slip back with the MP, not being in the ART. He's still very young, still could offer a lot, could win a Grand Prix. He's just that sort of guy. But yeah, I think Alexander Smolia might be decent this year. Gregory Saucy. This is a man who's got the biggest question mark above his head. He's moved to ART, won FREC last year, but his results before that were all sort of what? They were all just all over the shop. But I don't think he's terrible. But I don't think he's great. So I think he'll end up here, and just be a first year in F3. Even though he tested a few years ago, this will be his first full season in F3, and get his feet, and then he'll move up or something. We'll see how he goes. Zane Maloney, driving for Trident. I think Zane's plenty good for age 18, British F4 champion in 2019, and strong showing in FAEC. I think the Trident will slip back this year, and the Prem is going to be fast. So I think he's about here. I think he will pick up a win, some podiums. So yeah, decent year for Zane Maloney. Kaya Collet, the lead MP Motorsport driver, part of the Alpine Academy, had a decent result in F3 last year, ninth. But I think he will follow Victor Martin's footsteps and finish pretty high up the order. Um, in what might be his last year of F3 before moving up to F2, or does he want to go and do another year? Just really depends on where MP is at. He could go up the ladder. I think he could definitely win races as well, Kaya Collet. So next we have Oliver Bierman. Now this is a guy who could either win the championship this year and seal it and go straight to F2 and be one of those super talents, or he has a bit of trouble with teething and getting used to the cars. So I either feel he's going to win the championship or be fifth in the championship. I think he's obviously very talented. Ferrari's chosen him, but I just feel like he might have teething issues, get used to it, and he might have some trouble with reliability. But I think he will have a decent year overall. Pick up some wins probably near the end of the season. Johnny Edgar moves to Trident, member of the Red Bull Junior team. 2028 ADAC F4 champion and Italian F4 champion. Had a decent showing in the Carlin last year, but obviously the Carlin was not competitive. I predict some wins and podiums for Johnny Edgar and an early season title challenge. But obviously I don't see him winning the title. Arthur Leclerc finished third. He won FRAC, but was one of the only guys who did a full season. Um, had a really bad love-hate relationship with the barrier and finishing races last year in F3. 2020 FIEC was second. So yeah, the talent is obviously there. It's if he can finish races and handle the pressure is the main thing. I think I worry about Arthur Leclerc and getting it right in qualifying as well. And yeah, remember the Ferrari Driver Academy. I think he'll have a decent year finishing up third. Jack Crawford. This one might be a touch controversial after what I'd say is an abysmal result in FIAC, finishing sixth. But I feel like he'll use this um, bad result. He is a member of the Red to further his charge for the title. I feel like he will challenge for the title. 16 Red Bull Junior team. He's had some very good results leading up to this. He was good in F3 last year, so yeah, I can see Jack Crawford finishing second. Winning the title, Victor Martins. I mean, he had a great rookie season. I think he was the lead rookie last year. Won FRE in 2020, second in 2019. Fifth in 2018, second in French F4 in 2017. 20 years old, part of the Alpine Academy. I think he'll take the title this year. Second year with ART, I think he'll take sort of the pace that Teo Pucher was able to get up the ART back in 2020 and sort of use that. Um, yeah, I think he's gonna win it. I think it'll definitely be an interesting year. I don't know how the grid stacks up to previous years. It looks to be really strong up the front, but sort of tailing off at the back. I think there's a lot more worse drivers up the back than previous years. And I don't think the midfield's as strong as it was last year because the midfield last year was really strong. You had your Charusas, you had your HWO Matteo Nini, your David Schumacher, your Tridents. I mean, your Premers were up in the midfield when they should have been up the front field. And then your front field looks really strong this year. But I don't know, with the quality of drivers, if it's better than Jack Dillon and Dennis Hauger, you know. But yeah, I think it'll definitely be an interesting year for F3. So that's me, Formula Maniac. Thank you for watching. See you guys later.